doing that. So your university may have to look at a couple things like what's happening in the market, what's happening with what industry, what do they specifically need, what is the infrastructure, and may have to look at it very different way. Is the material, is the workforce there? What do we have to do to make sure that we can get our innovations out in the market and people can actually use our technology? So that's that adoption readiness level piece. I see this way too often where the scientists hyper-focus on the science, but they don't really see where's the real adoption economic development piece of the science. And so that's what I'm trying to illustrate here. This will help foster stronger collaboration and relationships. Again, there isn't an industry that does not need a university's impact input from agriculture to energy. It needs the impact of the students that are on this call, the faculty that are on this call, if we're going to drive innovation to the next level. Again, I believe that science fiction has become science fact, which is a reality here. I think that there are so many critical things that we're seeing right now that are going to require institutions to really help us to address some of the deep novelty things that need to be solved in our society today. One of the things that I get the privilege of doing with two centers that I run here at Georgia Tech, one of them is the Center for MedTech Excellence, which is focused on all things biotech and life science and helping drive the next innovation of medical devices, drug development, and life sciences. Then there's another one called Scale Up Lab, where I focus on all things deep tech, whether it's space related, energy related. And all these things are really to just help to drive not just the next generation of innovation, but also the next generation of academics in terms of being able to collaborate with industry as well. Because I want to reiterate the fact as I come to a close here, the world needs scientists more than ever before, and it's important that we figure out how to close this gap. But I want to leave you kind of with a bit of a charge here, something that's kind of funny for all those who might be a bit of a Star Trek fan. And you may fall in one of these particular buckets. So, will you be like Spock, do what is logical, what needs to be done? Or will you be like Kirk, the final frontier? Or will you be like Scotty, I cannot change the laws of physics? Or will you be like Bones, I'm a doctor, not an engineer? Wherever you sit on the spectrum of making decisions, it's important to understand that we all play a part, and we need to figure out where the balance is in terms of that to ensure that we have successful innovation translation, but building successful commercial relationships and how to bridge this gap between academia and industry. My mission is this, is innovation provokes people's current reality and interrogates their existing systems and processes and pushes innovation beyond its boundaries and limits. I want you to push your innovation ecosystem and your university beyond its limits. You are a driving force. Your university is a driving force. And it's important to make sure that we build these strong, sustainable relationships so that we can create the innovation strategy that aligns with your ecosystem so that you can have successful collaboration and that your ecosystem can see that university is the catalyst and how it can impact our local ecosystem. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to spend time with you today and just to share a snippet of my perspective on this. And hopefully it was helpful. And we've left some time here to answer some questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nakia.
Yep.
First of all, I have to ask of any entrepreneurs. Estimados estudiantes, colaboradores, startups, emprendedores, ¿tenemos alguna pregunta para Nakia? Well, they are thinking about a question.
Yes.
I have one to ask Nakia.
Yes.
Could you comment with some examples of how you help students to prototype, to do prototypes?
Yeah,
so I understood that you have working with Australia to build bridge and jetties. It's what's very interesting. But do you help SMS too?
Yeah, so one of the things that we work with the students is through our senior capstone design. And there is a class, one of the classes that I teach here with on Georgia Tech, which is Startup Lab, which is out of one of our Create X program. And then there's it's Startup Lab with a capstone. And so what students bring is they bring in their senior design, and we work with industry. And so let's just say Boeing. We all familiar with Boeing, right? They create aircraft, they build aircraft. So Bowen will come into our class or one of my classes or any other faculty that teach the class and says, here's an idea that we have or a problem that we have. How can you help us with this? And so in that, we walk through the design process and walk them through a little bit of how you build, and we walk them through how do you successfully and properly prototype. One of the things that I love teaching prototyping is I don't only just teach them how to do the basic prototyping, but I teach them how to do the technical prototyping as well too, building to the industry specs, so to speak, right? How would that technology be adopted if you build this, if you prototype it? How do you get it paid for? How does you get industry to buy it? So in that, so working with the students in the capstone courses, when we're working through the technical build and prototyping, yeah, we go very deep into the technical side of how do you actually prototype.
Okay. You also talking about how do you make it better?
Right.
So, you think we need entrepreneurship education? It could be possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think entrepreneurship education is absolutely important. I think specifically, like there's a whole section of one of the courses that I teach here at Tech that we spent about a month and a half on how to successfully prototype. And what does that mean in terms of entrepreneurship piece? And there's a bit of where they're working in the lab and they're fabricating their pieces and working through their electronics and how to user test that. So the entrepreneurship piece is critical. I think it's important that there is some entrepreneurship training that goes deep into how do you commercialize the technology that you've created. And when we use the word commercialization, oftentimes it's usually synonymous with something research related. But commercialization really is just at its simplest form. How do we bring an innovation to market? And whatever that innovation is, what is the pathway to do that? And what is the most efficient pathway to do that? And how to successfully do that? And so education, entrepreneurship education classes become a catalyst for that.
Thank you. Here a question by WhatsApp. Um, what's the meaning of entre? No, it's okay. It's ah rigorous mentoring. Interesting. What's the meaning of rigorous mentorship?
What is the meaning of what now?
Do you know about mentoring? It's when people need help to
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
entrepreneurs.
I'm sorry. I thought you said what is the yeah. So mentorship is critical. Now I will say this. Now I am
Rigorous by academic, scientists.
yeah. So depending on the technology and the innovation, now anyone can be a mentor just to encourage a student and to provide some simple advice and guidance. I do think that when it comes to students, if they have specific technology area or needs, you should find someone who might understand the business side of mentoring, but the technical side too. I think that becomes really critical for students who are working on technical problems. And when you have mentoring provides, some unique guidance for students, faculty who may not necessarily know. The student has the idea, but they don't necessarily know how do I connect the dots with industry? How do I connect the dots with getting investors? How do I connect the dots with how to build the thing, right? And so mentoring becomes really important part when we're talking about building out an innovation. So yeah, absolutely. Mentoring becomes a critical piece when we're talking about building something.
Ok. Nuevamente, si alguien quisiera hacer alguna pregunta para poder ayudarlos de repente, así. Ok. What area is open innovation most focused on and Georgia Tech?
You said what now?
Is in the chat?
Okay. What area is open innovation most focused on at Georgia Tech? Yeah, so some of the things that we're focused on a lot here is two critical areas. A lot of biotech and life science stuff is two areas that we're very focused on here from an innovation standpoint. And we're also focused on energy as well too. So we do a lot in the energy space. And manufacturing is really, really big here at Georgia Tech as well, in some of the areas that we're working on in terms of open innovation. But lately, our institution has really been spending a significant amount of time trying to collaborate with markets to better understand some guidance on how do we build the next generation of students, equip them, but also making sure that they are participants in open innovation. So we have a lot of open innovation challenges. Like for instance, one of the programs that I'm a part of is called I2P, which is Ideal to Prototype. And we have students that they get paired with someone like me, a faculty member for the whole semester. And the whole purpose of it is to take their idea and have a prototype built by the end of the semester. And we provide funding for them to do that. And sometimes that is built around the challenges in terms of just the problem areas that they may have an interest in, or it may be a problem sponsor that they may have interest in. But yeah, open innovation is those are some of the things that Georgia Tech is focused on.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you again for joining us today. We are very grateful and hope that will be the beginning of a relationship in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything I can help you guys. Certainly here to provide some support for you guys. Anything that you need in that regard to make sure that we're heading in the same direction, I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Viviana. Thank you, Nakia.
You're
And we will keep
welcome.
you in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nakia, as well. Thank you,
Viviana,
Carlos.
next
Thank
week
you.
we have a new talk at the same time.
Yes, yes, we will be in touch with the name, but yeah, we have another presentation with you next week.
Excellent. Thank you, Nakia.
Thank you.
Por
Bye-bye.
hoy nos despedimos de todos. Un fuerte abrazo
Adiós.
y gracias por
Un,
habernos acompañado. Mil
un
gracias,
gusto.
Viviana. Un abrazo
De
fuerte.
nada, un abrazo. Adiós.
Chao, chao.
Chao.
Gracias. Excelente presentación de Nakia. Thank you very much.